After having talked and presented the antecedents of smart connected objects adoption with the examples of smart homes, smart connected objects, autonomous cars and chatbots, we will talk now about the consequences of smart connected objects and IoT adoption, namely the impact of smart connected objects on well-being. And this is done with a study we have realized in the context of mHealth with a sleeping app. We start with the managerial context. The mHealth market is one of the most growing in the health industry and include apps to improve sport performance, sleeping quality, but also the quantified stuff. So here are some figures. So you can see that the global mHealth or smart healthcare market was estimated at 144 billion in 2009 and is expected to triple until 2027. It is projected to grow in an annual growth rate of 16% between 2020 and 2027. The healthcare wearable technology market is expected to double at the same time in the next 5 years and is expected to grow to 58 billion of US dollars. These are impressive figures. And above all, there are very favorable contexts because the government initiatives try to digitize healthcare in order to face the problems of less and less doctors. People live remotely, and this is also certainly a very important issue in emerging countries where the healthcare probably in remote areas is not so good. And so remote and digital healthcare is certainly a very important topic also for governments in emerging countries. Another argument is the prevalence of chronic diseases, that is obesity, for example, diabetes, cancer, heart diseases, which means that it makes sense to monitor the people or patients with risks remotely in order to prevent diseases or in order to improve health and subsequently well-being. You can see today there are already initiatives. You can measure your heart rhythm even with a simple Apple Watch. This Apple Watch is then connected to IoT and to applications, which will transmit the heart rhythms and the heart rhythm history to a hospital or to a healthcare provider who will monitor the health remotely. And the smartwatch will prevent the remote health provider if any problem appears. And if, for example, in the worst case, the patient has a heart attack, then automatically the Apple Watch is sending an emergency signal to the closest urgent doctor who can come in your home. If you have a smart home, then he can even come in with a digital code. IoT can prevent and see where is the hospital is closest and where a bed is free and where this patient can be rapidly taken into consideration and can be treated. And so this is reality already. That is why these chronic diseases can be very good monitored in order to increase safety, security for the patients, in order to decrease the workload of doctors to go into remote regions, but also in order to increase the comfort and the well-being of the patient. And last but not least, the increasing aging population worldwide also accentuates the demand for mobile health systems so that elder people can stay longer at home. And so this trend is likely also to increase due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with a requirement of monitoring patients, monitoring the temperature, also with test kits in order to have antibody tests and provide optimum care to the infected. You can imagine a very important market for all the applications. This means healthcare, this means sports care, this means food care, kind of service, remote service that can be delivered in order to increase well-being. So you see that manager context is very important, so which makes it important also to do research about this topic. Our theoretical objectives or contributions are the following. So despite promising developments and studies exploring the consequences of health apps, the research is rare And the few literature about this healthcare brings mitigated findings about the impact of mHealth apps on well-being. And I've looked at the literature. There are actually very, very few literature about these applications, including social science and medicine. And even in the engineering journals, it's more about how to work out the technologies, but less on the social influence of these technologies. That is why our contributions, we tested an mHealth app on well-being before and after use in order to see well-being increased. And we started a few investigated cognitive affective variables that impact positively or negatively well-being, namely all privacy concerns and quantified self. And our managerial contribution is that we show factors that influence well-being. We show the importance of well-being also to consider next to satisfaction in the marketing strategy, the expectations of consumers to use mHealth apps in order to improve target strategies of the firms and in order to put into. So first of all, what is mHealth or mobile health or smart care health is defined as a medical and public health practice supported by IoT and smart connected objects, such as, for example, bracelets like Fitbit, or smartwatches like Apple Watch. It can be also wearables, so we have clothes that measure, equipped with sensors, and measures all kinds of body functions. It can be also in the future kinds of nanotechnology, which is implanted, brain implantable chips, nanotechnologies that prevent diseases, cancer, things like that, which are implanted in the body. mHealth is useful for adherence, diagnosis and of diseases, their prevention, treatment and control, information, provision and decision making to do what kind of treatment a patient should follow. And this transformation of health practices and access to real-time information will empower users. And so we will have more and more patients which are empowered to control themselves. They will be able then to live at home instead of a hospital, that they can control their health under observed conditions, under the vision of a specialist, of a healthcare provider. So which are the theories we used? So we used privacy calculus theory, which is based on the personalization privacy paradox. These are theories which are very established in the S literature, information system literature. Personalization privacy paradox is the following. So while privacy considerations and perceptions of privacy risk negatively influence consumer willingness to use personalized services and mHealth apps, the value of personalized service can outweigh privacy-related concerns. It's like a balance. So the higher the benefits of personalization, the lower the privacy concerns. And this is also called the privacy calculus theory, PCT. So the value of the personalized service or products can outweigh the costs of privacy-related concerns or costs that negatively influence the consumer's willingness to use personalized services. So the increase of personalization value and the decrease of privacy-related costs through trust would improve the benefits, the perceived value for the consumers. And you can see here applied to mHealth applications. So we will have personalized advice for diseases, for patients. And so there will be more positive health practices through highly personalized offers or services. On the other hand, there will be risks, addiction risks, but rather more privacy concerns, which are the costs according to the privacy calculus theory. You see here the utilities of mHealth apps usage on well-being. And the apps will bring more well-being, so benefits, more well-being, physical well-being through better physical health, but also mental and spiritual health through remote healthcare, that you can see that somebody is taking care of you distantly, remotely, and in case of problems, immediately an urgency can come and pick you up and treat you. So it's a rapidly growing market and the adoption is increasing. So this is the first theory we deployed, so privacy calculus theory and personalization privacy paradox with the notion of well-being, the personal state of mind linked to different factors, physical, psychological, health, social, spiritual, economical, pleasure, self-realization, harmony, happiness, and medical conditions. And we use another theory, which is very well established in media research or communication research, the uses and gratification theory of Katz and colleagues, which was actually used to explain how people use the media, mainly how people use TV or radio. But it was also applied to internet and mobile apps, and we applied it last time to mHealth apps, because this theory explains how media use satisfy users' needs and increases their satisfaction through the impact of perceived benefits and positive consequences of use. And the theory of users and gratification is actually based on different needs we want to fulfill when consuming a media. We have cognitive needs, affective, personal integration, social integration, and release of tension needs. Cognitive needs applied to the mobile health app would be to get our quantified self. So specific information about our heart rhythm, diabetic information, about, for example, oxygen in our blood. You can imagine for the COVID, we have a connected watch that measures our O2, our blood, and would say that we are under oxygen saturation, which means that we will have some breath problems and it would be necessary to go to a hospital. If you control remotely or get this information, and we know that we are over 90% of O2 in our blood, then we are reassured, so our cognitive needs are satisfied, and this would increase well-being. But there could be also affective needs to be satisfied, improve our mood. For example, if the application is connected to lights and might make more light in our home, increase the temperature, perhaps put some music in order to increase our mood. This would increase affective well-being. We can satisfy personal integration needs, develop our performances in health. For example, we have our challenge that we do 10,000 steps a day, or that we burn 500 calories a day. And this can be measured and would also then satisfy personal integration needs. We can satisfy social integration needs by more social relationships, as these apps might be connected to social media, such as Facebook, or in China, WeChat. We could communicate and get supported by buddies to maintain our sports program or to maintain our dietetic program. So we could have buddies or communities which support emotionally the users, or even doctors that give you every day an advice and ask if everything is okay. And release of tensions, this all would then increase our feelings of happiness, health, and well-being. And the more the mobile health app would fulfill and satisfy these different needs, the higher should be the intention to adoption and to use the application. Again, very established technology acceptance model. The main variables, perceived utilities, so which enhance the user performance, and perceived ease of use, which is the consideration of ease of use of the application. And we consider that there is a positive link between both, and perceived ease of use, that there's a positive link on perceived utilities. We enhance the model by cognitive, social, and affective factors, different variables which appeared relevant in our former studies about smart connect objects and IoT, which is also relevant in the literature. That is well-being, which we define as the personal state of mind linked to different factors: psychological health, social, economical, pleasure, harmony, happiness, and medical conditions. And we naturally expect that the higher the well-being, given by we consider that well-being positively influences user experiences and thus intention to adopt the mobile health application. We consider, again, negative factors such as privacy concerns, which are beliefs about the data flow collection done by the firm. And the higher the privacy concerns, the lower the intention to use the technology. And also influence negatively well-being, because if you're concerned about the data flow, this brings stress, which decreases feelings of well-being. We consider a user-related variable, well-being personality. It's a little bit like quantified self, which are the patterns of thought, values about well-being that influences subsequently engage into health behaviors. And we consider that people with high well-being personality are more predisposed to recognize and more open to well-being, to perceive well-being through the application than others. And this follows, like for the quantified self, the self-determination theory of H and Ryan. Consider that it's linked to consumers' willingness to increase well-being as an intrinsic motivation, thereby confirming the role of personality in strengthening users' intention to use mHealth application. And so, in other words, the higher the well-being personality, the higher will be also the volunteer to use mHealth products or services. So hence, people with higher well-being personality should perceive greater well-being benefits regarding these mHealth applications. So this is our model. We measure it before and after use. So before use, clearly we have our different hypotheses. Very classically, perceived ease of use should influence positively perceived well-being, but also intention to use. And perceived usefulness, in line with TAM literature, perceived usefulness should influence positively intention to use, but also well-being. And we have here the moderator of well-being personality. So the higher the well-being personality, the higher the intention to use, impact on perceived well-being. And we have privacy concerns. The higher the privacy concerns, the lower will be the impact, the positive impact of intention to use on well-being. All these links are justified by the literature. And after use, we have the same model, so we have the same links. If somebody after use perceive easily to use the mHealth application, intention of use and well-being should increase. In the same line, more we perceive it useful, the higher should be the intention of use and perceived well-being. On the other hand, there should be always the negative moderation of privacy concerns on the link of intention to use and perceived well-being, and the positive moderation between well-being, personality, and intention to use and perceived well-being. Methodology was based on a survey which we did before and after using a sleep app. The survey was done in 2018 with an app called Isomate. It's a French application, so it's a sleeping app which measures all kind of information, quantified self. So how much time did you sleep? Did you manage to sleep easily in the beginning? Did you wake up during the night? All this is measured with a Fitbit or a smart bracelet or smartwatch. We asked our students to use this sleeping app. So we saw it then before use, and we saw it then 1 week after the use. And we had a sample of 182, and you see the sample age is quite low, and so it's students, 20 years old. We used established scales. These are also the scales we have used for the other technology acceptance studies, and so which are all valid in terms of reliability, conversion, and discriminability. And we used the same scales after use: perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness, privacy concerns, perceived well-being, and well-being personality, intention to use, or real use. We actually measured the real use of the sleeping app. And then very classical, we analyzed the data with structural equation modeling by using Amos from SPSS. And for the moderating analysis, it's a syntax that you can use, which is called process, calculating the moderating impact of privacy concerns and well-being personality. So here are the scales on a scale between 1 to 5. They are good in terms of psychometric properties. So you can see here, for example, well-being was measured with 5 items. I feel good using the sleeping app. The sleep app makes me feel happy. The sleep app improves my sleep conditions. It improves my life quality, and it makes me feel well. Perceived usefulness comes from Davis. So it helps me to assist my life. It makes my life easier, and the app is useful for me. Your intention to use comes also from Davis. So intend to use this app. And so before use, I will use this app. I have access to the sleeping app, I will use it. The real use was measured with after the usage, after 1 week. We asked, I use a lot the sleep app. I use this app during my life whenever it's possible. I frequently use during this week the sleeping app. I use the sleep app even in my daily life if I need it. Perceived ease of use comes also from Davis, so it appears easy to use, clear and understandable, and I feel competent to use it. The privacy concerns come from Hong and Tong. I'm afraid that this sleep app can collect my data. I'm afraid about the type of data this app collects. It bothers me that this app collects data about me, and I fear that this app uses my data for other purposes. The well-being personality, I often feel full of positive energy. I generate a lot of enthusiasm, and I feel sociable and open to others. Here are the results. So you can see that actually before, after, in black it's before, after it's blue. So the model is very good in terms of adjustment. So all these indicators of adjustment fit very well. The chi-square compared to the degrees of freedom is highly significant and lower than 5. We have after use here a small problem of adjustment before use, but after use the adjustment indicator is improving. And here for the CFI we are below 8, so it's perfectly fitting. We're even improving the fit after use, and the TLI is higher than 8.08, and also we improve the TLI after usage, so the model fits perfectly our data. And you can see here that in line with literature, perceived ease of use has a positive significant impact, which even increases after usage on perceived usefulness. Benefits perceived increase after usage. Second, we have no impact of perceived ease of use on intention of use, neither before and neither after the usage. Perceived usefulness have a highly significant impact on intention to use before. It decreases after, so which might be related to the fact that people are dissatisfied and that actually the sleeping act does not really bring them benefits. And you see the same also for well-being, perceived use. The benefits have higher regression coefficient before than after use, which also appear to indicate that the well-being does not really increase after using the sleeping app. And as we do find it also for the link intention to use on real use, which decreases also, which is still significant. So there's an impact of intentional use to and real use on well-being, but this influence decreases by usage, which is not a good news for this application, which means that after 1 week they perceive no use in this sleeping app. Concerning the moderations, the well-being personality indeed increases the feelings of well-being. So you can see people with high well-being personality, which is here the above line, perceive higher well-being than people with low well-being personality. And they perceive higher usefulness. So in other words, people which are open to quantified self, you can achieve more impact for people with higher well-being personalities. Concerning the privacy concerns, people with higher privacy concerns have higher feelings of well-being. So this is in contrast result to what we expect, but we can explain it by the fact that student sample, and they're actually perhaps less concerned about privacy concerns and less aware about the risk they take and the data they give to the provider. So in terms of contribution and discussion of the results, use and gratification theory can be well applied to other media, including smart connected objects and mHealth apps, because they respond to cognitive needs in order to have information about our health or sleep quality, to increase perceived usefulness. The application satisfy personal integrative needs in order to develop the ability to use health applications and increase perceived ease of use. And they satisfy tension-free needs in order to release health tensions, so to increase our well-being, and affective needs in order to improve well-being and health quality. But on the other hand, we can apply the theory, but we see that at least the application we tested, they did not increase well-being after use. We furthermore showed the important role of research on user well-being and not only on satisfaction, including tension-free and affective needs. So focusing on hedonic value, health benefits, quality of life is highly relevant in social science research and management research and should be considered further in the future, above all when talking about mobile health applications, but also for other applications. But the degrees of well-being after use and the benefits to satisfy cognitive needs appear to be inefficient. It means, I just said, that unfortunately this app does not increase well-being, which is related to the app, which is not related to the importance of the concept. Furthermore, we contributed by integrating the well-being personality because they appreciate more mHealth apps, increasing the influence of perceived usefulness on real use on well-being. So there's a positive moderating amplifying impact of perceived usefulness on real use and real use on well-being. And privacy concerns decreases the mHealth impact on well-being before use, but increases the strength on well-being on perceived usefulness after use. So this is in line with the personalization privacy paradox. Even when users perceive privacy concerns, they still intend to use smart connected objects apps, as they believe that the benefits of the app or the personalization are higher than the cost of privacy loss. And so this is in line with theory. Moreover, the theory of privacy calculus shows how users are likely to provide personal information if they perceive higher benefits than the costs and the risks related to data disclosure. From the manager point of view, so we show the importance of well-being with apps, and above all health apps. Perceived ease of use, they should be easy to use, and benefits should be perceived. Privacy concerns remain the main reluctance factor, so data security is absolutely important hot topic, and data policies should be considered to increase trust. And health provider companies should also identify consumers' well-being personalities to create congruent communication and app design. And finally, to finish, our research directions and limits. A sleeping episode is not really a health app. So it would be absolutely important to replicate this study with other kind of health apps, pure health apps, more serious health apps, and not so gadget-oriented health apps. For example, which are used to control obesity or diabetes. Furthermore, we did not have access of use and actual indicator of health improvement. It was only based on declarative data. Therefore, it would make sense to collaborate with an app provider to get real use indicators of the real usage and about the real sleep quality, because all this is based only on declarative scales, which have reliability issues and should be done with real data. We only measured 1 week. We need to replicate with longer duration test periods. And finally, last but not least, the sample is a student sample, so we have problems of representativeness. It would be important to replicate the study with real apps, real health apps with real data, and naturally with real representative samples of sleep users, or even better, real health apps. So in summary, new product, service, and information technology adoption fail because users do not adopt and use them, either because of the difficulty of use or because of the user reluctance to new technologies related to privacy concerns or other issues, or no real perceived utilities. Thus, understanding the conditions under which new technologies will be embraced by humans, therefore, is a high priority issue. The technology acceptance model, or TAM, and the UT-AUT theories have become well-established models for predicting new technology acceptance. Based on the theory of recent action, user acceptance and intention of usage of new technologies are determined by the user's belief about perceived usefulness or performance expectancy, which is the degree to which the use of the new technology will enhance the user's performance, and the perceived ease of use or effort expectancy, which is the degree to which the use of a technology is easy to use and without effort. Both variables are in turn influenced by external cognitive, affective, and social variables. Adding new concepts, variables such as well-being, privacy concerns, social recognition, technology fear, or theories such as self-qual, privacy calculus theory, the uses and gratification theory, is crucial to make fit the model to new times and periods and technologies, and to make major contributions to the theory building. So use established theories which enable you to explain a research phenomenon. The second message I would like to share with you is these theories can and should be enhanced by using new contextual variables. That is, markets are not static but dynamic. It makes sense to introduce new variables. In our case, it was basically or mainly well-being, privacy concerns, technology fear, hedonistic benefits, social benefits, which enhance the technology acceptance model. We have seen you can combine these theories with other theories. For example, technology acceptance theory together with usage and gratification theory, and the privacy calculus theory, the privacy personalization paradox. So we combined and embedded it, the different theories, to enhance the explanatory power. In the case of the chatbot study, we have combined technology acceptance theory with service quality management theory. Do not hesitate to use different theories. That's another point I would like that you have understood. You've seen the studies are quite similar, but you can replicate in order to advance science. It makes sense to replicate to see if the results hold in different contexts over time, over technologies, over different markets, different countries. So this also is very important in terms of theory building and in terms of empirical generalizations that you can draw from research. You have to know replications are important. And the last point, hot topics in marketing science, but also management science, are these technologies. IoT, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, big data, all these technologies are highly relevant. And when searching your research topic, consider the hot topics of the marketing or management associations, which actually focus and recommend to do research on new technologies, AI, IoT, and the impact on consumers, the impact on new business models, big data, the impact on marketing performance. In summary, these technologies, how they are used and how they enable consumers and marketers to increase performance.